We are Edison Chair, and we are now in session at JackRabbit SoundShack. Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water, and I think of all the things what you're doing, and in my head I paint a picture. Since I've come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Did you have to go to jail? Put your house on up for sale. Did you get a good lawyer? Hope you didn't catch a tan. Hope you found the right man who'll fix it for you. Are you shopping anywhere? Change the color of your hair. Are you busy? Did you have to pay that fine? You was dodging all the time. Are you still dizzy? Since I've come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water, and I think of all the things what you're doing, and in my head I paint a picture. Since I've come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Why don't you come on over, Valerie?
Welcome, Edison Chair.
Hello,
Hey.
Let me first ask you, where does the name come from?
boys. Take that.
It is a Simpsons reference. Still in the glory part of the Simpsons, like the first 10 seasons. Can't remember which one it is. But it's the episode where Homer is an inventor and he's trying to compete with his idol Edison, and he invents this chair that he later realizes that he just stole it from Thomas Edison, and it's just this chair that has like slats on the back, so when you lean back it catches you. And that's where the name comes from. They don't actually say Edison Chair in the episode at all.
No direct reference.
Yeah, it was just MySpace was the big deal back then, and we were having problems because like we were trying to be tricky and like have cool Beatle lyrics be our band name or whatever, but everything was taken. So like everything was already a band name. So we decided we need some kind of like original just idea that's not even really an idea, and so we
Good
just
idea.
watch a lot of Simpsons. So
Interesting. Yeah, I'm a big Simpsons fan myself, but that I guess is a more obscure reference than what I'm used to getting because
Yeah.
I did not pick that up.
Man, some people get it. Like almost no one. Everyone thinks it's something to do with the electric chair because apparently Edison actually did something with the electric chair.
He invented it.
Did he actually invent it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I tried Googling Edison Chair on the way in here just to see if I can get an idea of where the name came from, and I just got styles of chairs to buy.
No,
So-
you'll get like, if you go to Google Images, you'll get like style of chairs and then like really old pictures of Wes and Martin.
Yeah.
When they're like teens.
When the young players.
It is very difficult to come up with a band name. I've been in bands, and it is a tricky thing. And the other thing that I want to do is introduce yourselves. Just go ahead and start off, Martin.
I'm Martin, and I play guitar.
Wes Ballou, I play keyboard.
I'm Jake, I play bass.
I'm Wes Armstrong. I play drums.
I'm Ellen, I sing.
I'm Rachel, and I also sing.
Well, let me also say part of the reason I'd heard about you guys had come recommended by other friends of mine saying, this is a good band to get in here. Go check them out on YouTube. And I checked out your videos, and I was very impressed. And you have a really tight sound. It's awesome having the ladies. They dance and they sing awesome. It's just a little bit different from anything else that we've had on. And I wanted to bring that in here. But also, Wes A, because we've got a Wes A and a Wes B.
Yeah, we do.
But Wes A was in here with another jam.
Yeah, with Jonathan Fox.
Oh,
Cool.
I love Jonathan.
And when I found out he was also in Edison Chair, I was like, no way. We've been trying to get that band in here.
Yeah.
And actually, with the first time I contacted you guys, you were about to go on tour, I think. Isn't that right?
I think we're about to maybe do a run of shows or go to Seattle
Probably
or something.
Seattle.
It was just not the right time.
Yeah.
The timing was off, and glad to finally have you guys in.
Was that the first time you tried to?
Reach out to them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember we were still interested, but we just couldn't make it work last time. But hey, we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
finally
finally
make
come in.
Yeah,
Wes liked us, thought we were so nice, he had to come in twice.
that's right, man.
I was like, go back, sell it to the rest of the band, you know. And then we had problems.
Wasn't a
No,
hard
just
sell.
kidding.
It's like, hey, some people want to record us. Okay, cool, let's do it.
Right. So looking you guys up online earlier, I noticed some differences. Now, there's definitely a difference from some of y'all's earlier videos, your balcony TVs stint. I saw a lot of long faces in saying that. From there up until now. Now, obviously, the addition of the girls. I think some of the other band members are different as far as the guys go. The style of music seems to be a little bit different, and there seems to be more of an actual grip on a personality for a band now than there was before. Is that accurate?
Absolutely.
I think definitely. So they started this band like 10 or plus years ago, and it started with 3 dudes.
In
and it was
high
a
school?
when they were in high school. So and Rachel was also, and Jake were in teen bands around Austin. So we were all in the same Austin music sphere. So we've actually all known each other for like 8+ years or so.
Awesome.
We date really far back. And so Rachel joined the band probably 3.5, 4 years ago,
Probably
maybe
4 years
4
ago
years
now.
ago. Jake was around that time, so was Wes. And then I joined 2 years ago. And that's when we really started like saying this was the band. Here is our style. It's girl power. And how can we like be as rocking as we can?
Gotcha. How did y'all come to agree on that being the actual style and message and persona?
Basically, it comes from the fact that they're both kick-ass singers and musicians, and the moment they were in, like, it just didn't make sense to do anything other than put them up front and
Right.
push them forward. Like, they're so killer white, we got to showcase that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Martin and I had been in all these different versions of this band, and we played with a lot of really great musicians, but we never really had, like you said, a personality. We never had a front man
Yeah.
or front people.
Right.
And when the girls came, it was just so obvious that we should go in that direction, and it was so nice to have their big voices to write for.
Yeah.
And so now our music was able to take that turn and go that direction.
Right. Well, it was interesting for me because, again, looking y'all up initially, I saw a lot. So a lot of the newer stuff comes up first, right? And whenever you see images for videos or even pictures online or whatever, the girls are right there front and center. I mean, that's kind of what it's about. So going back and seeing some older stuff, it was interesting to see. I also saw a live recorded video of She's Too Hot For You, where it looked like Rachel had just started. And she was almost non-existent in the video, but you were still you, if that makes sense, like dancing up on stage, but you were like more background
I
vocals.
probably have bangs, and I'm like,
Well, you were wearing a bandana. You had the "We Can Do It" bandana kind of look thing going on. And,
oh,
Yeah, that was when
but-
we kind of started transitioning to where we were right now. That was we had a couple other guy lead singers, and the idea of the band was kind of just to have like the three background vocalists in the and so that's what we were doing. It was actually just for one show because we had played South by Southwest and that we had killed it this one year, and then like a whole year had gone by, and then the members were dropping out and things weren't looking very good, and it was like, man, we're not going to be able to outdo what we did last year, and so we're like, hey, we know these singers, let's go do something crazy. And so we worked up like a Queen song and, had all this stuff. And anyway, that band kind of started falling apart too, but Rachel was, still wanted to keep doing it with us. So we're like, hey, you're better than all of us. So
Yeah, and I just stuck my way in there.
Okay. And so what was the decision to add a second female vocalist?
I've known Ellen since middle school.
Okay.
And I've been probably trying to get her to join one of my bands since middle school.
I tried a lot. It took a lot of convincing.
Why did you always say no until now?
I don't know. I just didn't want to be in a band. Didn't want to be tied down.
You also
I went to all the shows. Like I was basically in Aftermath, but I did a lot of classical singing beforehand.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were doing opera and you were in choir and you just had a lot of other stuff going on.
And so 2 summers ago, they were like, "Hey, we're gonna do tours around Texas cities and make some money as a cover band. Do you want to be in the cover band?" And I said, "Yeah, for sure. I'll be in the cover band." And that was such a fun summer. We just tore it up everywhere. Galveston, Corpus Christi, you name it. And then at the end of that, while we were doing that, we started learning original songs. So then I was singing and harmonizing and taking my own part in the original songs. And then eventually after the summer, they were like, "So you can't really say no anymore." So,
It definitely made sense.
it makes sense. It made sense. It flowed really nice.
Okay. And did you all learn, this is going to be maybe a strange question, but did you all learn to sing in the same way, the same teacher, or was it all individual? You learned on your own?
We were in the same choir together.
Okay.
And
We've been singing
That
together
makes
in
sense.
all capacities for like 11 years.
Yeah,
All right,
I think we
gotcha.
just kind of recognized each other's talents and
Right.
happened to also be really great friends. So we've just been singing together for a very long time.
Cool. That's definitely something you can pick up in the music. I mean, y'all both have a extraordinarily similar singing style. You work off of each other really, really well. So it just felt like y'all had come up through that just listening to
And
it.
you have a lot of energy on stage,
Right.
dancing and everything. And I think that gets the crowd moving, definitely. And you said you did a South by Southwest show before they were in the band? And have you guys continued to play South by Southwest after that?
Yeah. Have we done 3 or 4?
I think we've done maybe 3 official, but that's kind of a different conversation. Really, what you need at your South by show is, are there people there and do they like you? It doesn't really matter if it's official or not. I think those two, like the one before we added the girls, was an official show. But honestly, if there's just people who wanted to talk to you after the show, that's all that counts. Because you can play an official show and no one's there. And
So did you
cares.
guys have a good turnout at those?
Yeah, I think we did.
Especially this last year's.
But then this last year was unofficial, and it was still.
No, we're official.
Oh, never mind. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because it was on St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, the Tim Oak show.
And we painted you.
He wore a crop top and we painted a stomach.
Yeah, it said hashtags.
Did you paint anything on it? Oh, okay.
And then
Gotcha.
we had a big 4-leaf clover on his back.
Yeah.
Train stamp.
It took like 3 seconds, and then it all just
sweated
melted
out.
off of my
Yeah,
body.
you sat down.
so fast.
I was like, no, my
Just
word.
leaving green on the back of every chair he sits in.
One of us has a really good picture of like him leaned over against the van in the parking lot outside the venue, and
Hammered?
Rachel's just like painting him.
Oh,
Not even drunk. Just,
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
that
yet,
was later.
yeah.
Hey.
I think I found with South by shows, I mean, people come in from all over the world for South by, and so it really, like you were saying, it really doesn't matter where you play as long as people are there. I mean, hell, I think some of the like secret shows or even outskirts shows do just as well, just because it's almost an exclusivity kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like, how cool is this that we're going somewhere that quote unquote nobody else knows it's there, and then you show up, there's like 500 people. Right.
Yeah.
Is anybody doing your booking and management for you right now? You might talk a little bit about how that process
Someone's
is.
butthole winked.
I like that.
Who's doing the management and booking for your band?
Emily Miller is. She was managing this one band that one of the Wesses and I were playing in, and that band kind of fell apart, and so we really liked her. So while she was trying to figure out what to do next, we're like, hey, you should manage our band, you know?
We kind of stole her.
We snagged her.
Yeah,
Nice.
she's killer.
Does she work on her own, or does she work with like a company?
She's on her
It's
own.
mainly on her own.
Independent.
Nice.
But she does a lot of show production, so she's in the. That's the really important thing. It's just being in some facet of the music business, and so she's doing, like the auditorium New Year's Eve shows, and she goes out to Whitewater, and you just start meeting tour managers and people in that world and stuff, so you can use your connections.
Right.
And something Vance and I were talking about earlier was that I like to work with people that are kind of younger and coming up, and they're hungry, they want to do work. And so for a while we were trying to put all our chips into one of the big management companies in Austin, but they were like, we're not really interested yet. You guys don't have enough things going on.
Reach or something. Yeah.
And eventually we were like, man, we should just work with someone who's more our age and more our speed. And it's been so awesome having her.
And who loves our band. She loves our band.
Right. No, it's always good because they can be honest about the way they're pitching you, you know?
It's good to have somebody that likes it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys all play in other bands. Are you in another band, Jake?
No, I'm just in this one.
So this is kind of your most of your main project.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know Wes, you're in another group.
Wes is in a few.
but-
Yeah, Wes plays with a lot of people.
I play a little bit around town, but every time I start a new project, I say, hey, I have a commitment to my band Edison Chair. And
So this is priority number one?
Yeah, and
Okay.
we can always schedule around it, but if something comes up, I'm going to go with the chair.
Your love is lifting me higher than I've ever been lifted before. Your love is lifting me higher than I've ever been lifted before. So keep it up, quench my desire. I'll be at your side forevermore. That's why your love keep on lifting me higher, higher and higher, higher. Your love keep higher and higher. Once I was downhearted. Disappointment was my closest friend until you came and he was parted, and he never showed his face again. That's why your love keep on lifting me higher, higher and higher, higher. Your love I'm so glad I finally found you. You're that one in a million, girl. And I wish my loving arms around you so I can stand up and face the world. That's why your love keep on lifting me higher, higher and higher, higher. Your love keep higher and
What's the writing process? Just from watching you guys play, especially on your living room sessions. I was checking that out. I think that's really cool that you have that going on. I wanted to talk a little bit about that because you kind of have your own series that you have going on. It's not a podcast necessarily, but it's like your own little performance deal in the living room. And I really liked that you did the Toto Africa because I love that song. I know I admit it. I like that song.
Hey, it's amazing.
The crazy,
It's a great song.
the heart tune that you guys did, you nailed it. You killed it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was incredible. If you haven't checked that out and you're listening, go listen to their version of Crazy and their Toto version of Africa. And you got a couple others on there. The video that you guys did of the Si Se Puede, which they played today. You're going to hear that one if you're listening. That is a cool video, and I was talking to Wes about how awesome the video production is on a lot of the videos you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to mention who's helping you out with that, but they're really good.
Sure. As far as the music video goes for Si Se Puede, we did that with some friends of ours who work in that realm, Sam Bennett and Lee Mendez, and they are killer. Like them and the whole crew, they organize the whole thing together and somehow get us all on the same path to get it all done and get that out there.
It's really awesome because they're all younger people that are working in the film industry around town, but this is something that they're passionate about because they get to put their name on it and kind of do it their way. So they call in all these favors. So they have all the people that are working on that crew are all friends of theirs they've met through different projects. And most of the budget is just spent on renting out the venue or renting the right cameras. So they're not even really taking that much from it. They just want to work with us, and we're so lucky. We're so fortunate.
And they put together a phenomenal crew each time.
Was that you guys' idea, or was that their
No,
idea?
so they're insanely creative. So sometimes we'll give them ideas, but a lot of times we'll be like, okay, here's the song, and they'll say, okay, what do you want to do as far as a music video? And we're like, we do not know. And then they'll come back and they're like, wait, we have this whole storyline. We know exactly what we're gonna do. And it's always ridiculous. Like, I don't know how they came up with that storyline.
Did they do
For
the
CC Puede.
video for, what is it, I'm Leaving You?
Yeah.
As well? I really liked the color scheme on those parts where it was showing you guys as a band with the black backdrop and like the purple and pink
Yeah.
colors. That was a really, I don't know, atmospheric kind of
Oh, thank you.
down feeling kind of look to that video. The colors were beautiful.
And that was all Lee Mendez who did all these After Effects on it. He's like really, they're so talented.
They're both amazing.
Yeah, and these were actually, as far as I know, their first shot at doing music videos. They both, like, they don't have a company between the two of them. They both just work in the videography world.
Right.
And it was kind of like a challenge for them to do it. And so it's kind of like what Wes is saying, just people, who are a little bit newer, but, hungrier to do it. So, because, like, it's kind of a struggle. Like, so we did a Si Se Puede at Whitehorse. And,
At 4 in the morning.
in order to in order to make it affordable. So, like, the Whitehorse bartenders who close out, bar closes at 2. And they just stayed because we get there at 4 in the morning and go till like noon or something.
Were y'all cool with them? Because, I mean, I've worked in the service industry
They
for
were
a while.
fine, like, but they must have
Tired
hated
wiping
us.
down count. Oh, they'd be too happy at 4 a.m.
As far as like the acoustic videos and everything like that on our page goes, that's all just iPhone and a little camera microphone that we use. And
Well, I was going to touch on, because you look like you were sort of like an integral part in the writing. You're bringing the keys as well as Martin. I mean, I'm sure you're all playing a part in it.
I'll say primarily, Wes Armstrong and Martin Aker are like the
The arrangers?
They're the primary writers as far as like lyrics and words and coming in with the chord structure and the structure of the song. Like predominantly, that's those two. There are songs where the rest of us will get in on the mix and co-writing, and that's becoming way more of a thing. That just generally the band is a writer on the song. But as far as individual parts and parts for each instrument and everything, that's just up to everyone and figuring out what works with each other and going
Bringing
on
their
from
own
there.
part in, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you all write arrangements for the girls? It's like, essentially, do y'all really factor them in while y'all are writing instruments? How does all that work out as far as lyrics?
Usually
melodies?
we start with the chord progression and the lyrics, and we usually have someone in mind for that who's going to be singing it.
Okay.
Mostly it's all for Rachel and Ellen. And what's been great is lately Ellen and Rachel have both been coming into writing sessions, and so it's been more collaborative, which is awesome.
Right.
But the instruments usually come after. We usually have a solid idea of our song, and then once we give it to all the instrumentalists in the band, it totally, I mean, it just comes alive.
So you rough it out, and then as you get together, you kind of tweak it and polish it up. Okay. Awesome. As I did want to comment on the sound you guys bring, because it definitely feels like it pulls from a different era. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't come from today. It feels like it's got things about it that help it relate to people of a younger generation, or for today's listeners. But it definitely, the songwriting style, the arrangements, the structure pull from decades back, which I kind of like. You know
I
what I mean?
told David that you guys reminded me of The Commitments. Have you seen that movie?
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's a great movie, and that's a compliment because they're great. But a larger band, female vocals, and it's just like soulful. It's got mixtures of blues and soul music and Motown and all that.
Definitely.
And you guys are bringing that.
I wanted to comment on Vance's ability to point out similarities in musicians. I don't know if you'll listen, but like through every episode, we'll talk to an artist, and he'll be like, "Yeah, you guys remind me of so and so," and then every single member of the band's like, "Yeah, that's awesome. That's exactly what we're going for." It's like, it's kind of amazing.
Thanks, man.
So, ratio of original songs to covers that you guys play live. How is that?
Well, in our original shows that we play in Austin, we'll throw in like one banging cover, like Africa or something along those lines that everybody's gonna love. Mr. Brightside, maybe Jackson 5. And then we do a lot of cover shows. So like last night we were playing a cover show. We played like a few hours, all sorts of covers. But like you said, we try to like jukebox it as much as possible. So lots of stuff from the 70s, lots of 90s stuff. We throw in some early 2000s. But we want you to never know what we're gonna play next.
That's cool.
Chain of Fools.
It's on there.
Yeah, that's on our.
Absolutely.
So how many original songs do y'all have written that you'll still play? I mean, that aren't outdated.
Quite a few. We haven't done like a
Okay.
count in a while.
15, 20.
15. How many records do y'all have out? Because I only found one online. Granted, I didn't spend 3 days looking, but
That's also kind of on purpose. We had more that Martin and I had done when we were younger, but we took those off just to kind of, we're fixing to release some new music at the early next year.
Okay.
So we're kind of prepping for that whole thing by taking some of the old stuff off.
Gotcha.
And just leaving more the newer recording set.
It's the idea that anyone coming across Edison Chair now comes across the Edison Chair we want to, because it's been alive and around for so long with the same name.
Yeah, I wanted to ask earlier if there was any thought of changing the name, since the personality had picked up or changed. No, you're all fine with it.
The minor thought, like a passing thought of, hey, should we do a different name because we're not really old Edison Chair anymore? We're like, no, we're still Edison. This is Edison Chair. That's who it is now, and that's just the way it is. Like at some point, the past and the story is kind of part of it. Like it wouldn't be as significant as it is that we are where we are and in the formation that we are if it didn't go through everything else.
Yeah, like we got our manager a jacket for her birthday, I think, and it's really cool, and it has our logo on it, and it says manager on the back, and the joke that I have is like we're gonna get jackets for all of us, but it's just gonna say our instrument. So if you get kicked out, then it says bass, and then we just give it to you.
Present the jacket.
Turn in your jacket. You're out of here.
That's funny.
Wrap it in a nice gold box for the
Just get 2 singer jackets and
You gotta sign for it when you get the jacket. Like, all right, sign it back in when you get there.
Oh yeah.
I liked the No Doubt cover too, and you guys are really in sync with that, and dug the outfits, and you had a lot of energy and nice hand gestures, and some of the faces that you make in some of these videos are hilarious. But it's all really on. It's really,
Some would say the best part of my performance doesn't have anything to do with my instrument.
it's his gesturing. Yeah, I mean, it was entertaining.
As you were saying, like performance is something that we take into factor every show we play, because we're a big band, but we're also like a really energetic and smiley band, and that's on purpose. Like we want to go out there and get everybody as dancey as we can.
I think that's very important, especially at live shows, and especially for artists now. I don't know that a lot of artists go out and put on a show that's that lively anymore. Some of them do, but a lot of them can be rather eccentric, and you really have to be into their music. They'll put it on to cover up their music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Luckily for you guys, y'all are a nice tight band. Lyrics for a lot of the new songs since the girls arrived. Girls in charge, or does that kind of flow as far as writing them?
It's like song by song, I guess.
Yeah,
you know?
it's definitely collaborative.
Okay.
Still, it just depends. Yeah, I think song by song is the best way to say it. Sometimes it's just Martin and I, but a lot of the time, and hopefully we keep trending in this direction, is that the girls are inputting a lot as well.
Okay.
I think like we had a writing session with the three of us for one of our newer songs, and they came up with the lyrics, but then I would say things like, oh, but I want it to say more of something along these lines, and then they would come up with something that depicted that perfectly, and
Sure.
just kind of
Okay.
having that input of like, here's how it's coming across to me, here's how I'd like it to come across to an
Because
audience.
all of that affects what the overall lyric ends up being. So like we wouldn't
Yeah.
have, you know, it wouldn't have been this lyric unless you were like, I wanted something like this, and then we follow that. But yeah, I think our live shows, what's driving our material more than anything. Like our problem before was we would just write and perform any songs that popped into our head. So like our set just had no consistency. You know, we playing ballads, then you know crazy punk rock, and then you know not punk rock, but like
But rocking.
so yeah, more rock,
Yeah.
and it would just be all over the place. So our set wouldn't, you know, our look wasn't anything, and our set
Cohesive,
wasn't
wasn't
anything. It
cohesive.
wasn't a cohesive thing, and that's what we've been trying to do. Like with our image, we're kind of having more of a we have a color palette now. It's kind of like pink, gold, and white, and it's kind of like, you know, like the '70s kind of thing.
Is that for photos or live or all of the
for
above?
everything.
Just like the
Okay.
vibe.
Like
Yeah.
West B got a pink suit, and that's what he plays in.
Pink
Like-
three-piece
like-
suit.
Wow.
We'll do variations on that depending on the show.
Yeah. All right. So for the songwriting, can I ask where that stems from? Because it all, at least from the newer stuff that I've listened to, it all seems to have a kind of a specific root. So I'd like to see if I can figure out where that comes from, how it's all being pulled from the same bucket, or at least that's how it seems to me, a third-party listener.
Well, everyone has those bands that are, I guess, most important or most
Influential.
most influential. That's a better word. And like I'm a Beatles guy, hands down. Like my parents were older. Like I was talking to y'all. A lot of the gear we played on was my dad's today.
Yeah, some nice stuff.
Yeah, and it's cool. And so like it took me like I didn't even listen to other bands besides the Beatles until I got out of high school. You know, I actually had to like force myself to listen to other stuff, which is, you know, that's cool. But it's good to have a lot of
More variety.
variety. But yeah, so like having just the fact that we have arrangements with harmonies, and you know it's going to be a verse and a chorus, and then we're going to have a solo, and then get back into it. Like that for me, that comes from the Beatles and bands like that.
Right.
Like a really big Austin band that I admire their songwriting is Fastball. I don't know if you know those guys at all.
We love fastball. We love Tom Petty.
Yeah, we love Tom Petty, and we all love. Jake's like the biggest My Morning Jacket fan.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And Zeppelin.
Nice.
Jim James is the man.
Yeah.
Back in the glory days when we were young, we did not do anything that wasn't having fun. I know my way around you, you know your way around me.
So what I've noticed with a lot of the lyric writing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but at least from the newer stuff that I've heard the girls singing, a lot of it seems to come kind of, even though the music is lively and upbeat, a lot of the lyrics seem to come from a place of hurt, actually, if that makes sense. I mean, there seems to be, I heard a lot of quote unquote relationship songs. I didn't hear a happy one. You know?
It's hard to write.
Yeah.
So it's hard to write a happy song. It's weird.
Yeah, you think
I
so?
don't
Not
just
for Pharrell Williams.
not for Pharrell.
Again, I'm not
Nelson,
trying to
but-
pigeonhole you guys or label you. I'm just trying to let you know what I notice and trying to maybe dive in and see if this is coming from a specific place or if this is just something that writes easier. But if that's the case, why?
We're all relatively happy people, and so
Okay.
it's kind of weird that
On the outside.
that you're right about our songs are lively. Like the one, if you're listening, that we did, "Bitch from New York City," was a personal experience that Martin had a couple Christmases ago with a bitch from New York City. And so that one's pretty easy, but there's like this. There are a lot of like I said, girl power songs, but even just like strong women. We have a song called "Walking Away" where Rachel and I harmonize the whole time, and the premise of the song is like, "I don't need you, I'm walking away," which you could say is like the premise of 6 of our songs, probably.
Okay.
Has that influenced your following at all?
I don't know. I haven't noticed
That's
it.
interesting.
I imagine it would probably cater to a certain demographic,
Yeah.
you know, of people. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but just, you know, again, third party perspective, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, things like that. And some of the ones that I was going through, because, you know, again, you've got the song "I'm Leaving You," "Hold Out," which seems to be about withholding sex. And then
He did his homework.
well, that one stuck with me, and I don't mean to offend you guys in any way, but that one stuck with me because I've been going to therapy for about 3 years, and part of it was due to being in an extraordinarily manipulative relationship, and withholding sex is a very manipulative tactic.
For sure.
So it did stick out to me. It did resonate with me. So I picked it up, but that kind of got me to notice the pattern and other things that are going on. And then I saw one, this one kind of threw me off. It said, "I hope you get everything." It's like, oh, okay, cool. Here's a nice one. And then I listened. I was like, oh no, this is, "I hope you get everything you deserve," kind of thing, you know? Everything that's coming to you. So, yeah, I was just kind of, I hope y'all are okay. Is
I mean, I don't know. I was gonna say, I think, man, we do write a lot of breakup songs. But they're different. They're different kind of breakup song, I feel like. And we're all around the same age, and we're going through that very big transitional period, looking back. And everyone's had shitty relationships or been in manipulative relationships, and it's kind of nice to get all that angst and energy out in something like music.
For sure.
I was going to say, you know, in terms of lyrical content, it's like, I think a lot of the songs that we really admire and we can draw inspiration from were written by people that have more life experience than we do. And I haven't gotten to see a lot of the world, you know. I haven't had these big spiritual awakenings, but I've had heartbreak.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So it's something to draw from.
In a sense, it's, you know, and this isn't meant to demean or degrade, but it's almost fake till you make it. Like Metallica did with some of their music. You know, they wrote a lot of music having to do with war, you know, especially back in the late 80s, early 90s, even though none of them served as far as I know. You know what I mean? But it resonated with a lot of people, and they did it it's in such a good way. It worked for a lot of folks.
Even though a lot of the lyrics are like, "Do you think you're something pretty? Do you think you know you really miss me?" It still comes out at the end of it with the lead singer being on top, or just like although it is
Or
a
being
breakup song,
stronger.
it's a power. Like, you came out in a position of power.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think
that
also
is noticed.
I mean, of course, we have the song "We Got History," but I think even the more breakup-esque songs have a lot of history to them. They tell a story, like "Si Se Puede," the one that we were doing today. Like, "Oh, I've known you for all these years. You know, we grew through all this stuff, and now it's not working out, but we still had this whole history behind it." And I think that's really interesting.
Right. No, I think honest music written like that about actual experiences that y'all have gone through is the best way to write music. You can tell when people are writing music just for the sake of writing music, and typically that's at the end of their career.
It's got to be from the heart, whatever it is. That's what I say.
Sure.
It's almost one of those things where you get down and you're writing something and you get into the middle of a subject and you're like, what do I even actually know about this? And what right do I have to be sending this message to people who probably have actually gone through this. And
Yeah.
they're just like, what the
Well, like, so one of my favorite singer-songwriters, one of the reasons that I love them so much is just because they write honestly about themselves. And you can tell they're not really trying to impose their view or their life experiences onto their listener or trying to write in a way that relates. It's really just them searching and discovering themselves through writing and actually getting that down on paper, and that in and of itself resonates. You know what I mean? Because I think we all do that to a degree, and I think something like that relates quite a lot. That is one of the reasons. Like singer-songwriter City and Color, again, I love as well, and I think he does the same thing. So I really appreciate that you guys are really taking the snapshot of what y'all are going through at this point in time, because years down the road you might be writing something different, and it's like Edison Chair when it was just the dudes, right?
Yeah.
That's who you guys were then, but every instance of who you were at the time has always still been you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Anyhow, I
Exactly.
got off on a weird tangent.
No.
That goes back to the thing about where we want you to see, if you're coming to Edison Chair now, you want to see us now, but we don't want to absolutely whitewash the backstory, because it's important, because every time it was Edison Chair in the past, that was who we and who the members were, and that was all real.
Sure.
And that's still that way now. It's just different.
Yeah, and you guys are going to evolve. You're going to grow and experience, and things are going to change. But at the same time, you're always going to be who you are.
Yeah, there'll probably be a lot of different, changes that go on. Where do you guys see yourself in the next 5 years?
Hollywood, baby.
For me, in 5 years, I want to be playing ACL.
Yeah.
I want to be on the stage, and that's kind of a personal goal that I've set for myself. Is
It's a good
I think
goal.
not this past one that just happened, but the year before I went, and I was with some friends, and they were like, "When are you guys going to be up there?" And I was like, 4 years, because I want it. Like, we have some drive, and I think we have a good product now.
You want to put money down on a year you're going to be up there?
What's
3.
Somebody do the math.
Go 2 years.
It's totally doable. I mean, I've had friends that have been in bands like Knife Fight. I don't know if you've heard of them, but Patrick, I went to, he went to MediaTek, which is where we went, and they played over there at ACL a couple years ago, and the Night Owls, who I think you guys would do great with.
They're
because
fantastic.
they're kind of the
We're
bullets.
fans, yeah.
They're a big band.
Yeah.
And the only difference is really they have horns. But it's
could have
very
horns.
similar. Yeah, you
We
could.
like horns.
Wouldn't turn them down.
You could totally.
Simulated horns.
But yeah, those guys, I think you guys would be a good act to be playing together, on the same night or something.
I think so too.
I think it'd be similar as far as like a big band sort of.
Yeah, and people want to have fun at a night owl show, and that's what we want to do with Edison Chair. We want y'all to dance,
You guys would probably, and this artist has been mentioned here a lot as well, that girl Dre.
Oh, we love her.
She's our homie.
Yeah.
Play with her all the time.
Actually,
We're
she's
obsessed
having
with Dre.
paella tonight, and we're all gonna go over there.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
tell her we said hey, even though she doesn't know who we are yet.
Yes, and talk us up. Tell her she needs to. They need
she
to come
voted
on.
I absolutely will. I think I did talk to her, but I'll talk to her again.
She's
gotta holler
like
at Dre, bro.
she's an actual angel. Where
She is one of the best people.
I'm a little
I've ever
confused
met.
as to how she's here on
She
Earth,
makes
but
Santa Claus look like a prick.
She does.
And a giant dog. Have you guys seen?
I know Giant Dog. Yeah.
I like them. I don't know if you guys would fit
I thought
into
you were
their
just-
They're like
deal,
the
but
Sweet Spirit guys.
Sweet
cool.
Spirit. I mean, there's all these bands we're trying to get on, and there's so many. So spread the word.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Please.
what have you guys got going on currently within the band realm?
We are working. So as Martin mentioned, we just did recordings this past May at Orb.
Okay.
And they're awesome. It's 3. We're gonna release 3 separate singles, and we're gonna a couple weekends from now recording our 3rd music video with the same people that we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
To a song called "I Hope You Get Everything," but not the happy one.
Right.
Who's the engineer at the Orb that you're working with?
Who was our
Juan
engineer?
engineered. Matt Nevesky produced.
I cannot
Okay.
remember
They
one.
were a dream team.
Yeah, it was great. Our whole experience at Orb was wonderful.
I used to. We went to school with a guy that was working over there. He was actually living there at one time.
Yeah.
I would live there.
But
Yeah.
I would gladly.
Yeah, Juan and Matt are who we worked with.
Yeah, it was fantastic experience.
when is that release?
I think we're looking at early, like
be
January.
determined.
Early
Yeah,
2018.
I think the
Okay.
goal is to get all of, because we have 3 singles,
Mm-hmm.
2 videos, and then we're gonna put 2 of them on a 45.
Nice.
So we'll have some vinyl, and I think the idea is to have all of that released by South by Southwest, because we're gonna go on we're planning a tour for May. So we want to have it all out by the spring. So the release date, I guess we're saying January, but it's kind of to have it all out before South by Southwest. So
Gotcha.
More and more people are doing vinyl now, and
yeah,
It's coming back.
We never tried it, and you can. I don't know. It seems like people will pay more for vinyl, especially if it has cool artwork. Just because more people own turntables and
How many of you guys own a turntable?
own a turntable.
Almost every single one.
actually.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Pretty much
Nice.
all of us.
We're actually all basically all of us besides Ellen live together.
Well, then that doesn't count.
Oh, they tried.
There's still like 3 turntables. No, there's 4
There's
turntables.
4 turntables in the house.
4 turntables in the house.
We just had to set up all these shelves where they're.
There's 5. There are 5.
Dude, we got to put some in the bathroom.
Yeah. We have all of
Way
our
ahead of
records
you.
separated. And
Running out of
good.
space to
Keep
put
it organized.
turntables in our house.
that's great. You have a larger record collection altogether.
Yeah.
It's actually
Huge.
crazy. So Wes's birthday, Wes A's birthday was early October, and we're always vinyl's a great gift. That's kind of what I like to get my friends.
Happy belated, by the way.
Thank you.
Because if you get someone vinyl, it's basically like getting yourself that vinyl album too. And so I was like, all right, Tom Petty, Dan the Torpedoes. That's like the best record of all time. And it was before he had died. And he died between me buying it and giving it to Wes's birthday. And I was like,
funny, but
oh
it's
my
kinda funny.
God, because it was such a surprise. And I had to give it to him early because I was like, dude, he just died today.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
And like I said, we love Tom Petty. Most of us have seen him at least once, and what a great album.
Nice.
So awesome.
It was just so weird because
Yeah, it's kind of
and I bet like
unhappy
they sold
coincidence.
out of Tom Petty records probably that
Yeah.
day. But
Oh, yeah.
everybody did. You know.
Something has gone wrong between you and I. Cannot describe it, but you can't deny. When did that love and look in your
How busy do you guys keep yourselves as far as playing?
Pretty busy.
We are just this next week we don't have a gig, so
Okay.
Which
this
is
is
weird.
the
That's your
first
down
time
week?
in probably 6 weeks.
yeah.
Most of those doing double gigs on Fridays and Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
A couple out of town, more than a couple out of town,
Gotcha.
and then rehearsals once to twice a week. So,
So are you
pretty
gonna still
freaking busy.
Are you gonna still hang out even though you're not playing together? Or are
We
you gonna
do.
take a break from
Yeah,
We're gonna
it's
go
kind
watch,
of.
we're gonna go watch the Cowboys game. We're recording
Oh,
after this.
As I said, the 5 of them. I'm the only person who doesn't live there. Oh,
But
but
she
they tried.
basically lives there.
But I'm there
Just
all
trying
the
to
time.
pull you in every possible avenue.
And we hang out. I mean, we hang out all the time. Like even when we're not rehearsing, or like we do rehearsal and then we spend the next 6 hours hanging out.
Yeah, like Jake is a preferred customer at Barbarella's. And
Best bar in the
we,
city.
we all like Jimmy Eat Wednesday, and then just any weekend, really. we all go together.
Yeah, any given weekend.
Is that like a real thing? Preferred customer? You guys? It's like I've only been there a
If
couple
there was
times.
one,
One
he
of the
would-
door
he would be
guys
one.
does remember me now. And he's like, oh, dope. I recognize it. You're good to go in, man.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
It kind of all plays on the whole thing of just like this incarnation of the band. The chemistry is like number one. It's number one for us because there have been like prime musicians in the band before
Right.
that are just like, you are amazing and it's ridiculous that you're here playing with the band. But
You're a weirdo.
yeah, but you're
love
weird.
you.
You're
I love
weird.
you.
We're not gonna hang out, and it's just like
Yeah.
that doesn't translate because when you have that where it's like we've known each other for minimum like 8 years,
Right.
and then we all hang out outside of the music anyways. It really translates together whenever we're all meshing together.
And none of that's forced. It's all actual
No.
organic chemistry between you guys.
I don't think we'd live together if it were forced.
Yeah.
And you can see it. I mean, just you know, we were setting up for this dialogue. You were in there just having a great time, chatting it up.
Yeah.
You enjoy each other's company, and I think that that's really important. And that's one of the greatest things about being in a band is that you're all friends.
Oh, yeah.
I've been in
agree.
bands where people aren't friends. And
Why is he in a band? You're not-
why would you want to torture yourself in a van and travel around?
Right, or it's like four people individually showing up to a place, playing an hour, and then
all
individually
leaving
It's just
separately,
like, all right,
yeah.
goodbye. It's
You
like,
missed that
that's weird.
change. I hate you.
It just feels weird. Yeah.
But I think that's why I don't feel too crazy making a bold prediction that we will be up there, because I do really believe in this group because of the chemistry and the musicianship.
Well, what are you guys going to do to push that out to your audience besides play shows?
Bribery mostly.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you going to bribe them
Our
with?
strategy so far is just trying to get more content online, and that's what those living room sessions are for. Because we've only been doing that for like 2 or 3 weeks, but we've just already seen that way more people are visiting, sharing it, and then like because then
3 weeks.
you want it to be like when someone binge like YouTubes you, like how long can they go? How many music videos do you have to watch? How many live videos do you
I
have
did
to
it
watch?
last night.
Yeah, and so
So the goal is to make it.
We're
so
starting
it's
to
not
get
just
it,
one night.
but like like a really big band, it's gonna take you a really long time because you're like, man, they just keep having music videos, which is really good because then you just
Of that quality too.
yeah, sure.
Because right now, like you said, there's still some older ones. There's still some kind of more home video, but we're trying to get it all up to par.
Well, you guys
Online
are
is
on your way.
Where to
Sorry.
go? It's 28. Like it's about to be 2018, and everything is online. So
Yeah.
I mean, that if you're gonna get famous or get a record deal or something crazy, it's probably gonna happen online. If not, contacts. But
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, because of the fact that everything is online, are now choosing not as much to go with like record labels or companies, or they'll go with smaller ones or things like that. Just because, it used to be you'd sign with a record label, they'd pay for your studio time, they'd pay for your tour, they'd promote you guys. That's not really a thing anymore.
Now
It's-
everybody's a record label.
Yeah.
And you can be signed to 4 record labels, but what are they really doing for you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have JackRabbit Records. Technically, I have a record label, but I haven't done much with it really because what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be providing inexpensive, low-cost studio time and then put on shows and promote bands. I mean, that's sort of what these people are doing. And I was talking to my buddy in Chill Russell, and he's like,
Great band.
Yeah, some of these people are signed to like 3-4 different record companies. I just did the quote thing. or they have multiple promotional, like they're with Penny Low for PR. But it's like, are you exclusively with them? Well, a lot of these bands nowadays have like 3 or 4 different companies they're working with.
Yeah.
And 3 or 4 different record labels. And that's totally different from when, I played South by Southwest in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And we got a distribution deal back in '92, you know, and when Fastball was getting signed at South by Southwest.
Yeah.
But things have changed a lot with the record industry and modern technology and social media. I mean, none of that even existed.
Right.
It's a crazy thing where we're just a random person that was singing nicely and playing a guitar, and then an iPhone video got him, and the next day 80 million people have seen that around the world because it's, that sounds nice and it's easy to watch this for a quick second. And
it's amazing.
It's
Why can't it be
that's
us,
the
you know?
state of the world.
Right.
It's crazy.
The funny thing is how fast it changes. One time, I don't know if y'all remember this, but we were playing at Galveston on this pier called the Pleasure Pier.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah, no, we
And
did pleasure.
that's a whole
sounds
other
real
story
nice.
in itself. But like, there's like these 12-year-old girls watching us, and they're like, "Hey, you know, what's
so
y'all's
nice.
band name?" And we're like, "We're Edison Chair. Find us on Facebook." And they're like, "Facebook? That's for old people."
Oh my God.
Everyone's on the gram now. Yeah.
No,
What? It's already for old people?
on that same
my
note,
gosh.
we thought they were taking pictures of us because we were under this really big Ferris wheel. Turns out they were just playing Pokemon Go, and there was like a
You're playing to the
Pokestop right
cameras
underneath the
that
Ferris
aren't
weel.
actually rolling.
We're like posing. Yeah,
Yeah, we're like trying to smile.
get new Pokemon.
Are you guys on Instagram? Y'all active on social media?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
all facets. Edison Chair on Spotify. Like us on
usually Ellen.
Spotify.
Okay.
Yes.
Follow us.
Or follow, whatever you do.
Just put it on
EdisonChair.com, right? It's
Yeah.
The
EdisonChair.com.
website is good.
Cool. Yeah, I think it is important to not only have content, but to have good quality content
Yeah.
for sure, because that's stuff that people will share, people will continue to go back to. Vance, have you got anything else for these
I don't
folks?
think so. Definitely go on to their YouTube and check it out because they got some cool videos on there of some originals and some covers.
Like, subscribe. The videos, again, that you guys have are awesome.
But go see them live because they're a live
Yes,
band. And
for
they
sure.
got awesome, cool front girls that jam out and get
We
the
do.
crowd rolling, and an amazing band as well.
Do you guys have anything you want to say to your audience before we wrap things up here?
I'm just trying to find when our highball show is. So
yeah.
we're going to be in Dallas.
November, right?
I think it's the 9th.
November 3rd.
Eighth?
And
Is it November 8th or 9th?
It's a Thursday.
All of those dates.
Yeah, let's just say the 9th.
yeah, let's just say November 9th. We're going to be at the Highball. It's actually a cover set.
Is it on your website or no?
Yeah, it'll be on
yeah,
the
anything
website.
you can
Cool.
find on the website. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
I guess as far as what we want to say is just thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us.
got it.
Thanks for
Yeah,
coming in.
blast.
And thanks for opening up and letting me get weird with the conversation. I really
no, it's
appreciate
fine.
it.
It's
cool.
Honestly,
We
it
get
was
weird
great.
all the time.
We don't
every night.
we don't
Sounds
think
weird.
about
I'm
that
sorry.
stuff enough, you know, like we're not thinking about our lyrics. Like for me, I'm like, is the trailer ready to go? Are the tires inflated? You know,
Have I checked my tuning again?
do I have my 9 chains that I need?
Yeah, so it's nice to have just a casual conversation, candid, getting into like, oh, so the meaning behind your lyrics, because it's an interesting. Yeah, for that moment, we took a second. We're like, yeah, you're right. We have a lot of depressing like song subjects. Just-
Have y'all had Nomad City in here?
No.
No.
I'll send y'all
Nomad
that.
City.
Y'all need to go get them out. We just played a show with them, and they're fantastic.
Where are they from?
Austin.
Here.
Boston? Okay.
There's another
kind of
girl
music?
lead singer.
Oh, is it? Awesome.
Yeah, it's rocking though. It's
It's rocking out. Yeah.
a great band.
Sweet. Yeah, we'd love to get them in here. I mean, anybody and everybody we can bring in, I've been feeling kind of good. We've been getting emails lately from people outside here wanting to come in and be on the show. And some of them are like, yeah, let's bring them on. And some of them are like, well, let's maybe hold off on that for a
Give
little
it a
bit.
pick and choose.
Right.
It's
you
so
know.
artist friendly. I don't like, you know, who wouldn't want to do this? Is what I was thinking.
Recommend it to anyone.
We haven't really had any actual no's. I think the trepidation comes from just the fact that it is musicians, especially ones who play more often, have busy lives. And
We
so
had
just
one,
want to try and
we
fit it into
actually
their
had
schedule.
one no.
Did we? Well, when was that?
It was when we were
did.
more-
It was. I remember that now.
It was early. It was kind of early on, but anyway,
Well, thank
cool
you
to
so
know the
much for
bands we
having
have
us.
in
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks again, guys, for coming
thank
in.
you. Thank
Vance, where can the audience find us?
www.insessionjrss.com. But if you're interested in coming on the show, where can they find us?
InSessionJRSS@gmail.com. Shoot us an email, or you can find us on Facebook. We will reply to messages. We do get those. And guys, please tell your friends about this.
Sure,
talk about the
absolutely.
show. We are
I'll tell Trey
again
tonight.
awesome. We are also now on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music. We've got all of our episodes up on YouTube, along with all of the individual songs, so you guys can listen to the tracks. If you're not quite ready to get too in deep with the artists themselves yet, you can just kind of hear what they're about as musically. And I think, that's good for us to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, thanks,
All right.
guys.
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank you all
much.
very much. Guys, we will see you next time.
Take a bow, played it cruel. I thought you were something special. I'm the rule. You said my name was the only one. I was wrong. That was you just having fun. I still see your eyes at night. Call me out of the blue. Take advantage just 'cause you were overdue. Enjoy your life of cocaine nights. I hope your other lover sees through your lies. If you stayed away, that's one less mistake. You think something pretty. Do you even really miss me? That bitch from New York City. Don't lie and act so clearly. Say to me that you're not guilty. That bitch from New York City. You play your part, don't break another. I've known you all my life. I can't believe you'd be willing to sacrifice everyone. Get it all. You built me up just so you could watch me fall. Now I'm gone. You're back where you belong. You think you're something pretty. Do you even really miss me? That bitch from New York City. Don't lie and act so pretty. Say to me that you're not guilty. That bitch from New York City. You play your part, don't break another.
This one's about a New York bitch. Roll the tape.